Welcome. Thank you for following my videos. Watch until the end, also comment, like and subscribe. At the end of this video, I have prepared for you a gift. Keep watching the whole video to have an idea about how useful this gift can be to you. Please take a moment to read the disclaimer on screen. Pause the video if you need to. Quick version: this is educational content only, not financial or investment advice. Where you are now and how to get there. Let's suppose you already have an answer. I want to learn to trade so I can have financial freedom. But what does that actually mean to you? Maybe financial freedom means never worrying about debt again. Maybe it means being able to buy and spend on everything you need and everything you've ever wanted. Or maybe your answer is something else entirely. What you and I both know is that it can only be shaped by exactly where you think you're standing right now, because the view of freedom looks different depending on where you're starting from. And I can assure you, that view doesn't cost you anything yet. Where do you really want to go? Why? You have to understand, going somewhere means leaving where you're at, and in leaving, you have to understand something else. It may carry a cost you haven't accounted for. One or more that you may not even be able to understand unless you have been there before. That takes more than a decision. It takes real, deep research. And when you think you finally have all the information you need, the direction, the distance from point A to point B, maybe you should also think about what you'll need along the way. And just as important, what condition you'll be in by the time you get there. Do yourself a favor, pause, and ask yourself one more question. What exactly would it really cost me to be able to reach the prize? And once you've finally reached your destination, when you are already standing there, is the prize more than enough to cover for the cost, enough to justify the why? Why that place and not somewhere else? At this point, you start thinking about other doors, other opportunities. Each one has its own cost just to walk through. After all, you should know this by now. There is no free lunch. So step back, ask yourself honestly, from everything I've seen, read, every evidence I have examined, is this still what I really want? That would be a nagging thought all throughout, unless you have settled this matter from the very start with a firm answer, yes. If your answer is no, then this video ends here. And that's okay. Come back when it isn't. What could delay you and what could stop you completely? These are not the same questions. Almost nobody separates them. A delay costs you time. A stop costs you the journey itself. You need to know in advance which is which. For you, some of this will only become clear along the way, especially if what you're stepping into is uncharted territory. Finance, numbers, math, maybe more time demanded by study, by research, by tests than you've ever given anything, even in your school days. And that's how it should be. Because the risk here isn't just a grade that you can make up later. No, this requires your undivided attention. Whether you've foreseen the risks or not will no longer matter once you're in it. Getting caught unprepared, with no backup plan, can end your journey abruptly. And by now, the consequences of that should be clear to you. There's an advice I always remember. In this business, simply showing up is what gets you through. I can't tell you how many times I thought about stopping. I carried on anyway. The course from here. You have finite resources. You've survived before. Now sit down and honestly map what you actually have, not what you wish you had. Not just, did I feel good about that decision? How far did it actually move you in relation to where you are headed? Trying to reach a goal, any goal, without understanding where you've already been can, at times, cost you the whole journey. Literally. Here, getting caught without a working map will cost you exactly that, your bearings, and maybe your journey. Taking this for granted can blind you to the next step. What are the headwinds and what are the tailwinds? Critics, constructive or otherwise. Sometimes even the same person hinders you and motivates you forward in the same breath. In my first video, I started deliberately with scams and risks. This is that point again. This is where I introduce you to one of the very first concepts in trading and investing, which is risk. What's working against you, named plainly? What's working for you, used on purpose? You should not fail to consider and even recognize that there are things, as well people, that can work either for you or against you too. Don't let people say, "He started something that he cannot finish." Survive first. Thrive because of it. Survivability isn't the opposite of thriving. It's the only road that leads there. Survive first, then make surviving more and more efficient and thrive because of it. You must plot a course, not from where you wish you were standing, but exactly from here, where you are actually at. This is the time to sit down and write it out, because know this: everything you think you have has a finite supply. You can only measure the resources you need by measuring the distance, the time, the effort, your health, your resources and support. In short, everything you have. You should always have a backup plan, and even a fallback plan, all concentrated to that one effort, the one place you want to be. Some of it, maybe most of it, you've never actually tested to its limit before. That shouldn't discourage you. You may have reminded yourself, "My faith in God will pull me through." Know that what you are, what you have, and who you are, and yes, even why you are, is not to be risked here, though many times you know you doubted your intentions. Know that prayer goes a long, long way. Ask for wisdom and understanding, seek knowledge. Same die, same odds, only the stake size changes. At 20%, 5 losses wipes you out. At 2%, you can survive 50 or more. And here's the part most people never do the math on. Lose 50%, and you don't need a 50% gain to recover. You need 100. Lose 90, and you need to make 900% back just to get even. The bigger the loss, the harder the climb back, and the fewer bets you get to make it. Risk management is foundational in understanding trading and investment. Having a strong understanding of the basics will take you a long way. As promised, I will send my dice game simulator so you can experiment with risk. Like, subscribe, and tell me in the comments if you are interested, and I will send you a link. Thank you.